Hosted by Mike, the Big Cheese.
All right, welcome back to the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show. It is August 9th, 2026. Right there, Guitar Pete's Axe Attack with Thirsty for Blood. They came off his first record. It's more of a solo thing than a whole band, but they were great. I love them. I got to look for Pete, try to get him on the show. I know our friends over at Heaven Hell Records were working with him on re-releasing those two albums. I don't know whatever came about it. I guess nothing because it hasn't been out, and that was talked about quite a while ago. I don't think anybody else has ever re-released those albums, but they were two solid rock records. So we got to get Pete on the show and talk to him all about that. But tonight, Paul Shorty Van Camp of Killers, our guest. It's Killers' final days in the world of metal. They're going to wrap things up real soon. We'll talk to Paul all about that in about a half hour or so. Until then, we'll get on as much music as we can. I saw the other day that John Joseph, the original singer of the Cro-Mags, and who continued on with using the name the Cro-Mags, so him and Harley had it out, and I guess Harley won in court, and now he's the official owner of the Cro-Mags name. I was letting everybody know that that new Cro-Mags record of Age of Quarrel, which is not a new record, it's an old record, the debut record, but it's been re-recorded and re-released by Harley's Cro-Mags, and he's saying it's not a Cro-Mags record, and I agree with him. I say this all the time. Bands cannot repeat that chemistry, that magic that was in the air when they recorded those records that were phenomenal. I mean, the Cro-Mags Age of Quarrel is like the ultimate when it comes to hardcore and metal mixed together, crossover. They are the that is the ultimate album. I mean, one of the greatest hardcore records ever recorded. I'm at a loss for words. So when I hear the new versions of those songs, I kind of cringe. You know, I mean, the bass sounds great because Holly was the original bass player, but everything else just doesn't mesh or meld to me, and I just don't dig it. I can't get into it, and I don't know why bands do that. Exodus tried it. I know a lot of them do it because they want to get the rights to those songs back, but nobody's buying these re-recorded versions. Maybe the die-hard fans are going out and getting a couple of these records, keeping their collections. But who's listening to it? Are you really listening to the re-recorded version with Rob Dukes of "Bonded by Blood" instead of the Paul Bailiff version? Are you listening to another version of a Metal Church song that doesn't have the original singer David Wayne singing it? I know I'm not. I don't get it. It's just my opinion, but this is what classic Chrome should sound like. Sign of the times.
Jackets all around me. are planting their seeds deep in the womb. This gestation. Succubus sent here to swallow her mate, conceiving this sin as to open the gate. Mortals are blinded, no way to resist, and can imagine a fate worse than this. Masters, masters of evil. All hail and kneel on the floor. There's been nothing like us before. Bring it on, the shit in the dawn of the year. Kick it out, we've waited so long to
right, we kicked off that set with the Cro-Mags, Sign of the Times, the real Cro-Mags, not the re-release version that Harley put out. After that, Dennis Sherman, Masters of Evil. Sean Peck from Death Dealer and Cage sang on that record. I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, it really threw me back to the old days of Merciful Fate, just without King Diamond singing. And that's kind of the album that pissed off King, where he didn't want. I never got it, but he didn't want Michael Denham back in the band because he was offended by him doing this album and the album cover that they came up with. It was too reminiscent of one of the Merciful Fate records and blah blah blah. Yeah, he still works with Hank Sherman. Also did the record with them. Hank got off scot free, but because of that, he wouldn't have Michael Denham back in the band for the reunion. And I was so upset because all those years that all of them were alive and healthy, they could have went out and did a great reunion. I mean, look at King Diamond when he goes out and plays now. He sells out pretty good sized places. The same when he goes out on the Merciful Fate. It's really just him and Hank Sherman these days. But they could have went out with that original lineup and did it. But now it's impossible. Kim Ross, I don't know if he really even plays drums anymore. He has a lot of problems with his hands. He was saying Timmy passed away a couple of years back. It'll never happen. They wasted that one opportunity, and I would have been there front and center. I probably would have been a groupie, went on tour with them, and just followed them around from show to show because they were my favorite band back in the day. And after that, Steel on the Rocks. What a great debut record with Ron Keel and Yngwie Malmsteen. It's just a shame that he wasn't able to get a good hamburger in LA at the time. I think that's probably what caused him to leave the band and go solo. If you listen to one of the old shows and you read one of the interviews in Metal Forces, you know what I'm talking about. If not, go find Metal Force. I think it's issue number 3 with the interview with Yngwie in there. He talks about not being able to get a good burger in LA because the neighborhoods were kind of bad and kind of dark, if you know what I mean. He's a character. That's Yngwie for you. All right, how about we get on some brand new Black Death? Before that, I was reading a thing today on Blabbermouth. I don't usually go there that often, but Nikki Sixx of Motley Crue, because I happened to watch one of the videos of one of the concerts from I think about a week ago, and you could see him like just standing there. He was barely even playing the bass. His hand was barely even moving. So maybe they're right. Maybe he really is faking it, not playing live. There's already been stuff said that he hasn't played on some of the records early on. That another bass player was brought in there. So I'm really starting to believe in that because if you watch him, his hand is hardly moving to the bass as the bass is playing, live through the speakers. So and Vince Neil, I don't know. They keep saying he's lip syncing. I don't know how that could be because he sings so bad live. I mean, is he like re-recording these songs like in a live setting where he sings really bad so it looks the same when he plays live? I don't know, but I loved Motley Crue. Those first 2 records were killers in my opinion. The last time I saw them live was 1984 when they opened up for Ozzy. After the Theater of Pain came out, I just couldn't care for the band anymore. It wasn't something I was into, and they came back with some good records after that, but by that time the ship has sailed for me with Motley Crue. But he says that he's not going to ever put out a full-length record again because he's just going to do singles here and there because nobody would buy full-length Motley Crue records, so why waste the time and money putting it out when really nobody's going to buy it? That's just the main thing. And he's like, well, if I have to write a full-length record, he goes, I'd have to write, of 10 songs, I'd have to write at least 20 songs, and out of those 20 songs, 10 have to make it to the record. At least 5 of them got to be incredible. Now, if you're a songwriter, every song you write should be good. You shouldn't have to write 20, 30 songs to pick out, the 10 best ones. Every song you write should be good. You're Nikki Sixx and Motley Crue. You wrote all those great songs early on. At least you say you did. I mean, what would be the problem now, 30, 40 years later, after you've learned how to play better, learned how to become a better songwriter, writing 10 good songs just one after the other? I don't get it, but nobody really has interest in Motley Crue to begin with anyway. Not anymore these days. Who knows? Let's get back to some good music now. How about Black Death? Brand new Black Death. I'm waiting for this record to come out. It was supposed to come out in May. I haven't heard anything about it since that time, so maybe I'll reach out to Sicky and see if I can get him back on the show, and we'll talk about what's going on. But here's THC.
Yeah!
All right, there you go. Brand new Black Death, THC. We've been waiting for this record. I heard about it in May. I'm going to reach out to Sicky, like I said, and find out what's going on, get him on the show. But I know a lot of this record is older material that they re recorded or redone, or they maybe just remastered it. I'm not really sure myself, to be honest with you. We'll find out when and if it ever comes out, because I haven't seen it anywhere. But they keep talking about it like it's been out there for a while now, and who the hell knows? All right, let's get back to the music right now. Do another quick set. We'll do some more talk, and then we'll get the Shorty right after that. But since we got Jerry in the chat room, how can we not play some Panzer Division on a full moon?
Of hell dance through my mind. On a full moon I have these nightmares. Is it a dream or is it real? Rays from the moon that burn my body, bones and flesh that turn to steel. Out in the woods I search for things to kill. Hunger and need is all I feel. Nothing I do don't seem to matter. On a full moon all hell breaks loose. Losing my mind, killed with a passion. Losing control, total destruction. Seeking the sky, seeking the sky. Going insane, moon is my master. I'm on the ground, I'm feeling faster. Seeking the sky, seeking the sky. Outside it's coming again. Oh, so long I've been this moment. Please dear God, when will this end? So many nights I sit and waiting. So many nights I hear your call. Anger inside me burns with vengeance. By my hands I swear you'll fall. I am the one who knows your secrets. I am the one who wants to kill. I will search until I find you. Take you down, then blood will spill. Was it a dream? Imagination, born on board. Total frustration, visions of death. Seeking the sky. On a full moon, something may happen. Feeling of love, even attraction. Still in my road. On a full moon, piercing my heart. I was right from the start.
All right, that said, Panzer Division on a full moon overlord. Destroy Us All, A to Z with Valhalla Force, and right there, Black Sabbath, in for the kill. I guess the big news this week was Glenn Hughes says he will not tour anymore. He has to go in for his second heart operation, and listen, when you're in your 20s and 30s and you have to go through some sort of real, medical problem and get it taken care of, you got a lot of life left in you. You got a lot of time to get better. But as you get to the 70s, life starts taken from us, and you don't want to waste it just being on the road all the time. So I completely get that. He'll probably do one-off shows. He'll still make music. I can guarantee that. But everything in life has an expiration date. Every king has a reign and then he dies and it goes on to the next person. But some of these artists just aren't getting it. I mean, I saw Claus Mine in a video from, I guess, a concert sometime this month. I don't remember the exact date of when it was, but he looked completely lifeless on stage, just standing there mumbling into the microphone because he couldn't get the words out. He wasn't even singing. That's the sad part. He was just like speaking the words with a little bit of melody, the first word and the last word, and everything else was spoken in between. He can't sing anymore. When they had that final farewell tour like 15 years ago, and I got the final tour 15 years ago, they're still playing and performing because they did the same thing as every other band does. They get a big response to that retirement tour and they want to keep going. But he couldn't sing that night either. The crowd sang half the songs for him because he couldn't sing. He lost his voice. Listen, when you're in a band and you're the singer of a band, especially a band that's on tour all the time, one of the bigger bands like AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, the bands that are out there all the time playing the arenas, and it's your job to sing. The voice is a hard thing to maintain. Some people can do it. A lot of people can't. As you get older, our bodies change and they can't do it. But it seems like a lot of these artists just don't know when to say enough is enough and pack it in. The Scorpions, they made their money. They're okay. They don't have to perform again in their lifetime, and they're all okay financially. So I get it. There are bands that are mid-level that got to keep going on whether they like to or not because they count on the money. They rely on that money. They didn't make that small fortune yet where they can keep doing it. But the Scorpions, they did it. You know what I'm saying? They can retire now. Closed Mind is just, it's become a joke. They cancel more shows than they perform these days. Then I saw a clip of David Lee Roth from this week performing live. He looks like an absolute clown. He can't say, he was never a great singer, but he was a great frontman. I'm not a fan of Van Halen, but he was an amazing frontman. But he was never a good singer. But he had his own style and his own thing, and it worked. But he's like a buffoon now. He looked like a carnival barker compared to like an 80s model. I mean, he just looked ridiculous in the outfit he was wearing, and he can't sing anymore. But people go and pay to see it. And, if you saw Van Halen in their prime, you realize what you had and what you're not getting these days. I get they perform in front of a lot of young fans, a lot of new people never saw the prime Van Halen, but he looked like a joke up there on stage, especially smiling with that smirk and, that whole lady killer thing. You're 75, 76 years old these days. That whole lady killer thing just doesn't play anymore. I saw Tom Keefe from Cinderella the other day walk into a show from, I guess, early on in the year. I know he had to cancel the remaining dates of his tour because he lost his voice also. Great singer, great songwriter, but he was walking in 6-inch platform shoes to make himself look bigger, wearing leather pants that were a little too baggy and didn't fit right because he's not 20 years old anymore. They don't fit, his hair looked like it was teased out to no end, and he had the black mascara on and the lip gloss. I'm like, you're like 60 something years old. It just doesn't fly anymore. It just doesn't work. It worked great in the 80s, and me, I love the 80s. This whole show's about the 80s. That's the decade I grew up in. But it comes a time and a place where you got to just say enough is enough. We can't do it anymore. Look at Lemmy. Lemmy went right till the end. He passed away, but if you watch some of those shows from that last year, it looked like it was taking a toll and he couldn't do it anymore. If he didn't pass away and he got sicker and sicker, would he continue to play? Probably. I don't know. But listen, there's a lifespan for everything and an expiration date for everything. When you've reached that peak right now, you're in your 70s and 80s, just go sit back and enjoy your family and your life and reminisce about the glory days when you were out there performing in front of 40,000 people, not a carnival crowd. That's just my opinion, but I'll let that go. I'm not going to say any more about that. All right, let's get to Killer. We'll talk to Shorty in 2 minutes. Let's play something off the new record. Let's do The Fire Still Burns.
engraved in my soul. You never fade away. I'm under your control. The fire still burns. Flame never dies. The fire still burns. Oh no. The fire still burns. The passion is alive. The fire still burns. Always on fire. The fire still burns. The fire still burns. The fire still burns. The fire still burns.
I can hear you, Shorty. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's really great talking with you. I'm hoping that the grand finale is not really the finale of Killer.
Yeah, who knows? I was intended to stop at the end of last year, 2025, but suddenly we got the offer of Canadian band Anvil to go on tour with them in Europe. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Ah, you're out of. I can't see you anymore.
Uh,
Anyhow, we were invited by Anvil to go on tour late this year, 52 shows in Europe. We were also offered by HRR Records to make a final studio album. And that's why I delayed the end of Killer. So it is postponed, but I don't know how long. Maybe 6 months, maybe a year, I don't know. I don't put a fixed end date to the band.
I understand that. What made you decide that after 46 years and a few years when the band wasn't together for a while, that this was the time to call it a day and end it?
Yes, I was in the meaning that the interest in Killer was going lower. Was not so much interest anymore by concert organizations or record companies. And in the past when we did shows, there was always 500 or 1,000 people, and the last year only 100 or 200. I thought the interest was growing low, but maybe I'm wrong, because in the meantime I have a lot of reactions by fans and people who say, "Oh, don't stop, go on."
Yeah, you know what it is, the music scene has changed. You know, the interest is always still there in a band like Killer because you guys were just so great at what you did and you still are. It's just that times are changing and people are getting older and things don't happen the way they used to happen anymore. But, you know, the interest in Killer has never demised any. It's just that, you know, everybody's changing and getting old, I think.
Yeah, of course, our fans are growing older as well. But there's still interest in some good old school metal, classic metal. There is still interest, but it's not so big anymore than in the 80s, of course.
Sure, everything changes, but you know, you're still putting out great records as Killer, and even as Van Camp, you put out two amazing albums with that. Are you going to give up on the music completely, or just, you know, the Killer part of it when it does come to an end, to keep up maybe with the solo records with Van Camp?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Completely stop. That's I will not completely stop, because that will mean my death, I think. But I don't know what the future will bring. Will I go on again with my studio project? Will I go on further a while with Killer? We have a cover band as well here in Belgium, where we play in small clubs and bars, and we have almost every weekend a job with that. And I have also, together with my friend Lloyd, who is on the last Killer album as well, he's doing Motorhead-like parts. We have a Motorhead tribute band here in Belgium and Holland, and that is going very well as well. We have a lot of job with that. And we are only doing Motorhead, the greatest hits of Motorhead. I'm playing only guitar, I don't sing like I do in Killer. And then my friend Lloyd, he is doing the Lemmy part. He is in fact a reincarnation of Lemmy, when in looks, in sound, in vision, in attitude. I don't know how many songs you have from the new album, but because on 2 songs he's doing a guest appearance.
I know he does roll the dice, and I mean that's such. I mean, it feels like it could have been Motorhead. It's such a tribute to him because of Lloyd's,
Yes,
vocal
yes.
stylings and even the songwriting. I mean, it was just great to hear that because it was a real throwback to the late '70s, early '80s of the Motorhead vibe.
Yeah, maybe we do something together when we stop with Killer. Maybe we make a new band, more in the style of Motorhead, but with own compositions, not with cover songs. Like we did on Roll the Dice. And there's another song as well, What You See Is What You Get. He does the lead vocals completely on that song. Roll the Dice is doing a duet with me, yeah.
Yeah, and the two great songs, and you know, Killer to me always like drew a little bit from Motorhead to begin with. Even from the very beginning, we're very influenced by Motorhead, which was at that time only actually around a couple of years Motorhead, because your band started in 1980. Motorhead was only around a few years before that, but you drew a lot from like the sound that they were creating, I think, early on.
Yeah, especially in the early days, we were compared with Motorhead. Also because we were with 3 musicians. The bass player who was a singer in the time, he had a raspy voice like Lemmy. And later on we did some other more various style of metal, different, not so Motorhead like anymore. But now the last album I would go back to the roots, back to the early days, very simple songs in the style of Motorhead, the lyrics in the style of Motorhead. I am not ashamed to do some things like Motorhead. It's rather a compliment and an insult to be compared with one of the greatest rock bands in history, being Motorhead.
True. When you think about the early days of the band, I mean, the first 5 years, 3 records almost back to back, Ready for Hell, Wall of Sound, and Shockwaves. I mean, you made such an impact in such a short amount of time. I mean, if I remember, wasn't the band actually signed to Warner Brothers Records for that first album, or was it Mausoleum? I think it was Warner Brothers.
Yes, the first album was on Warner Brothers Belgium, but we were not the right band on the right label, because they only did major bands or Belgian. How must I say it? Belgium singers or bands in the more
Pop vein.
poppy and
Yeah.
more classic things. We were not the right band for them, and they were not the right label. They were too big for us. We were only a little number all the way in the back of their catalog, and that's why we changed to Mausoleum. Mausoleum was founded in that period, and they took over the contract. And we started together. In fact, Mausoleum was always Killer was Mausoleum. Mausoleum was Killer.
Do you think Warner Brothers just didn't know what to do with you guys at the time? Because 1980, I mean, there weren't a lot of heavy metal bands signed to major labels. Even Metallica took another 3 years, and they jumped on that bandwagon kind of early. I don't think they knew what to do with you guys, probably.
Yes, but don't forget it was Warner Brothers Belgium, not Warner Brothers USA.
Yeah,
The Belgium branch was very local. They were very local.
true. But you found such a great thing in the early days of the band. You distinguish yourself amongst a lot of other bands in the genre and a lot of other bands from, Belgian or European areas. For 5 years, like I said, it's 3 records. That was so impressive to hear that. I mean, how did you feel about each album as they came out? Did you think the band was progressing and moving along as far as it should, or were you kind of limited to like the area you came from, because we didn't have any internet back then and no worldwide reach?
Yes, indeed, there were. You can see it from 2 sides. In the early 80s, there was almost no competition. There were only a few metal bands in Belgium. That made it more easy. Now we have to split the cake among. We have to eat the cake with thousands of bands. But at that time there was almost no competition, but was also almost no distribution, no internet, as you said. Very difficult to. No radio airplay. It was difficult in that time. Now the world is becoming so small with the internet, with Facebook, with all the social media. There's no problem to reach somebody in Japan in 2 minutes. But in that time, we were real pioneers. It was very difficult from a Belgian band to go across the borders.
Yeah, it's absolutely difficult for a lot of bands back then because you were kind of limited to where you lived and where you came from. But you know what? I was able to get, Ready for Hell and Wall of Sound here in America back in the early 80s. So the albums did make their way around, whether they were imported or just, found their way here. I was able to get them back then. And I thought what you guys were doing was so far beyond what other bands were doing at the time. And like you said, you were like the big fish in the little pond until things started to explode. But did you feel like the band kind of got lost in the explosion of heavy metal as the 80s started to go on?
Yeah, we had no good management. Mausoleum was not 100% a good label as well. It was a small independent label. They could not give us the support we needed. Yeah, it was very difficult. And now the world is becoming very, very small. There are cheap airlines. There are, in every country you go, there are backlines and PA systems available. But in that time, we had our own truck, our own PA system, our own backline. It was almost a North Pole expedition for us to go to do some shows. It was really primitive in the time.
It was hard when you think back on it now. It was very difficult and very hard. But back then, that's all we knew. That's the way we lived, and that's the way we did things. So it was kind of normal and natural back then. But I think it was around '87 that I heard the band broke up, and then Killer was over for a couple of years. Did you guys just felt like you did what you could do and you couldn't go on any further, or was it just something else that broke the band up?
Uh, we broke up the first time in 1987, indeed, because normally there was a live album recorded with the mobile studio of Dieter Dix, the producer of Scorpions. It was recorded in Antwerp, here in our neighborhood, a sold-out show. Very good recording. But while we were in the mix, Mausoleum went bankrupt for the first time, and everything was blocked. The tapes were held by the studio owner because he had to earn some money from Mausoleum. Everything was blocked, and we were so disappointed at the time that we decided to stop. It had no sense for us anymore because we expected a lot of the double live album at the time. The pre-sales were very good, very positive, and that could have been a breakthrough for us in different countries, not only in Europe. And we were so disappointed that we decided to stop and do something else. I did my first solo album. Spooky, the bass player, did also a solo project. And then we came back in the early 90s with another album. It's called Fatal Attraction, recorded in Germany. But very soon after that, there was a new explosion of grunge bands, like Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and bands like that. And there was almost no interest anymore here in Europe for classic old school metal bands. So that's why we decided to stop again. And then we did some more blues rock projects, cover bands, solo projects. And then we restarted in 2002 again in a Mausoleum show together with Doro, Crossfire, Ostrogoths, Belgian bands like that. And then we restarted, and we still exist since then, since 2002.
Oh, absolutely. When Fatal Attraction came out, I think it was 1990, I want to say the album came out. And that was like when metal was still kind of going. But it wasn't long after that, like you said, that grunge came out and just kind of killed the scene. But when you came back as a four-piece band. You and Spooky had two new members. Did you always want to have a second guitar player in the band? And this was the time to do it?
On Fatal Attraction, we already had a second guitar player, but that was not my choice. That doesn't mean that I'm a dictator or something like that, but we have always been better with three people than with four. But in 2002, when we came back, I would do something new, and I took a keyboard player because that's more, must I say, it's more away from a guitar.
Yeah.
Two guitars are making a lot of noise, a lot of trouble, a lot of egos. And that was not what I needed. I would do a new killer with a new sound. And I took a keyboard player because keyboards are also very good in classic bands. You can see Deep Purple, Dream Theater, Uriah Heep, Symphony X, bands like that. I was inspired at the moment, and that's why I took a keyboard player. And we did 2 fantastic albums with keyboards. I'm very proud on these albums. Maybe they are the best work we ever did. But the die-hard fans didn't like it. They said, this is not Killer anymore. We need the old school Motorheadish Killer. And then we restarted with 3 people again, and we still are.
Well, I thought Broken Silence and Immortal were 2 good records. I thought they just showed a different side of the band musically, what you can do with that extra melody from the keyboards. I thought they were pretty solid records, and I get the fans want it the old way, and especially around 2000 or something, because people were looking for that old metal again. You know, they moved past the grunge, and they were looking for the classic metal again. So I kind of get that, but I thought they were 2 really good records.
Yes, I'm very proud on these 2 records. As I said, artistically, maybe they are the best thing I ever did. There we showed that we could really play music, that I could play the guitar very well, and the drummer is very good. Everyone was very good. But now we do not have to prove anything anymore. We just play rock and roll without any problem or without any need to prove ourselves. Just go with the show.
It took a long time for you to get to that point, I guess, right? Where you realize you don't have to prove anything to anybody. You already accomplished what you had to do.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Oh, I was saying it took you a long time as a musician and as a band to realize that you didn't need anybody's approval or to prove anything to anybody. You already proved yourself as a band from all the music you put out for the decades before that.
Yeah, but maybe that's always the eager or the need from a person or from a musician or an artist to prove himself. And I'm never satisfied with myself. I always want to do better or do something good for someone. But you never can do good for everybody. So, in fact, I gave up. I do only my thing, and I'm doing what I can the best, and that's play hard rock, classic hard rock, old school, like you want to know it, like you want to call it. And I proved myself a few times on my solo effort as well. That it's more musically, more guitar, more long songs with longer solos, more complicated. But with Killer, especially the last album now, the farewell album, I did it very, very simple, back to the roots.
Absolutely. You talk about the solo stuff, the Van Camp stuff. I mean, Too Wild to Tame back in the late 80s, 88, 89, I think. And then last year with Volume 2, decades in between the 2 records. Did you feel like anything changed for you musically that you wanted to do on the Volume 2 that you weren't able to do on Volume 1, the first one, Too Wild to Tame?
The first one, that was, as I told you, in the first breakup of Killer. It was in the late 80s. It was in the period that there were a lot of guitar shredders. So first I would do an instrumental album, like in the time you had a lot of instrumental albums from American shredders produced and by Michael Varney, I think he calls. But Mausoleum at the time, they wouldn't do it, and the other company where I was on, they said, yeah, we will release, but you have to sing. We don't need an instrumental album. That was the first. And now the second album, that was during the COVID period. There was a complete lockdown here in Belgium. I don't know exactly how it was in the US.
Yeah, same thing.
But we were 2 years. There was a complete lockdown regarding concerts and shows and events. And I had a lot of time in my home studio to do some recording or record some demo tracks. And there came the idea of bringing a lot of songs that I had that I couldn't use for Killer because they were too long or too complicated. And so my second album was born. And I had also a lot of songs leftovers. And that was now the farewell album. But to be honest, there are only 3 new songs on the new album. The 7 others are leftovers from the COVID period. But after listening to them, I reworked them a little bit and I reproduced them a little bit. And in fact, they came out very, very well. And I don't consider them anymore as leftovers, but as full good songs.
Well, I mean, the whole album sounds great from start to finish. So a lot of those songs were really meant for the Volume 2 record. You just didn't use them because even though it's a solo record, you know, your voice is very distinctive. Your guitar playing is very distinctive. So there's always going to be a little similarity between Killer and the solo stuff. But I thought the solo stuff was really different than what you would do with Killer.
Yeah, of course. It will always be a little bit similar because I cannot do an amputation of my voice or my guitar style or sound. That will always be a little bit Killer in everything I do, even in my cover band or when I play more blues rock songs. It will always be myself. But as you said, the song structure and the idea was completely different in the solo album. There are less limitations.
Yeah, yeah. Do you plan on doing another solo record right now? Is that something that's on the table, or you really just want to focus on, you know, the new Killer record and this upcoming tour with the Antler, should be a pretty good tour?
My first priority now is the tour. We are preparing the tour. Also, the traveling, it gives me a lot of job with administration for crossing the borders and to do the transports and everything, and promoting the new album. So that's my priority for the first 4 or 5 months, let's say. And then next year, I will see what I will do. Will there be some demands for solo shows? I will do solo again. Probably we will have again some job with Motorhead tribute. But I do it step by step.
So many bands say that they're going to retire, they're going to pack it in, they're not going to play anymore, it's over, but then they come back and do it again. And I guess it's kind of hard to move away from something that you've been doing for 46 years, you know, just with Killer alone. I mean, so everybody say like, well, it's going to end right now, but then maybe next year they'll do another show, but it's not completely over. You're just going to take it, I guess, day by day after this tour.
Yes, as I told, I will not put a fixed end date on Killer. When we have good offers for next year, for example, we already have an offer to do a festival in Switzerland in May next year. So I'll do it, no problem. But very slowly it will come to an end. Because in 2 weeks I'm becoming 17 years old, and that is, sometimes I feel it. On stage I feel 18 years old, but next morning I am 112 years old.
I know that feeling, Paul. I know that feeling. But I mean, the Anvil tour is like, I think it's a little over 2 months that you're out on the road. That's a long time. A lot of shows.
Yeah, 52 shows, if I'm
Wow.
right. But it will be great, I think. Anvil is a very good band for us. We are very, very close to each other. Also 3 people, also coming from the early 80s. We have the same vision, the same attitude. I think it's a great match, Anvil and Killer.
I'm sure the excitement builds up as you get ready to start the tour and get on the road. How long does it take before you start to feel it? You say, oh my God, what did I get into?
Sorry, the question was
I
not
was
clear.
saying you get very excited that the tour comes up and you have 2 months on the road playing for everybody and all your fans, but after a while it has to be a little draining on your body that, you know, you're out there and you say, I wish this was over.
Who knows? Maybe
You know,
after the 2 months, I will put my guitar in the cellar or in the garage and don't use and don't see it anymore for a few months. Who knows?
you
But
never
I don't
know.
think so. It's my music is my life, so it will be okay.
Yeah. Well,
When
you know,
we stay in good health, if we have no problems with health when we're on the road, then it will go, no problem.
of course, good health is all you need. And, you know, talking about the live record that you recorded earlier, you know, before the band broke up, I mean, were you ever able to get a hold of that record or get a copy of it, or were you able to do anything with it?
No, we only have a few. During the mix, we did a few. In the time, there were cassettes. You call it in USA also a cassette, I think.
Yes.
And we only have a few rough mixes on cassette, but that's all. And the real tapes were confiscated by the authorities they were in the coffin of the tribunal.
Yeah.
And the studio owner, they wouldn't release them anymore because they need money, and I don't know how it ended, but anyhow, they are gone. They don't exist anymore.
Wow. I think a live record is the only thing you haven't put out, as a band.
Yes, I think some of the 52 shows with Anvil will be recorded.
Oh,
And we
great.
hope something comes out and is usable, sorry for my English. It will be usable to be mixed and to be released as a live album.
Well, that would be fantastic. Shorty, so many bands today are making documentaries about themselves, about the history of their bands. And it's coming from bands that were very small to bands that are very large. Have you ever thought about doing that, right? Putting out the story of Killer?
Oh, I said it already a few times. I will write a book. I will write my memories about the scene from 1980 until tomorrow. But that's something I say. I don't know if I will do it. And a real documentary, there was somebody interested to do it, but it will cost a lot of money, and I don't want to pay a whole lot of money to make a film about Killer.
I get that, but a book would be great. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of great stories to tell over a 46-year career with the band.
Yeah. Yeah, I have stories enough. We did thousands of concerts and shows. We had a few musicians in the past who were a little bit crazy. We had some crazy stories on the road, and also with families and recording and record companies. I can write a book without any problem.
Yeah. Well, families play a big part in, especially bands today. I mean, when you're younger, when you're starting out as Killer, you have the freedom to do whatever you want to do. There's really no families or commitments at that time. Does it get harder to keep things going as families come into play as the years go on?
No. To be honest, our drummer Ivan and our bass player Jan, they are single. They have no wife or children anymore. They have great children, older children. And me and my wife and my daughter, we are together for 40 years already. She's used to it. There's no problem. But of course, when I was 25 or 30 years old, and when I should do a tour, then that would have been maybe a problem. But now, no, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, we reach different stages in our life and things change. But Shorty, I'm not going to keep
it's
you.
maybe our last chance to do something like that. So we must enjoy. Maybe next year we can be dead. It's now or never.
That's right. And I'm glad that you gave us this album. I mean, what an amazing job. September 11th is the official release date on High Roller Records. I'm going to let you go, Shorty, but I want you to have a great tour with Anvil. Give them hell out there. And before you do wrap it up, try to get here to America for one show.
Yeah, we only have been once in America. That was in Chicago in 2017 at a club called Reggie's.
Yep.
And I think the festival called Legions of Rock.
Yeah, the Legions of Metal Festival, yeah.
Legions of Metal. We played together with Ross the Boss. That was great. And the American people liked us very much. And we'd never been to America, but all the crowd were shouting and singing the choruses louder than I did. And I was very surprised that they knew the lyrics so well. So yeah, that I was surprised by that they knew Killer as well.
All the true metalheads here in America know Killer, and just for as long as you keep doing it. And I'm always going to be a fan. I've been with you guys since 1981, so I've been there a long time. So just do what you can and keep giving us what you can when you can.
Okay. I will keep you in touch as well with some information. I see on your website a contact address, because in a few weeks there is a new video coming out as well. I don't know if you will receive it from our USA promo agent, but do you have a personal mail address for me?
Yeah, I can give it to you. It's the Heavy Metal Mayhem Radio Show.com.
.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get everything through the record label too. So we'll definitely have it.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Anyhow, if you need something, call me or mail me, and I'm yours.
You got it, Shorty. Have a great time on the Horrid Anvil. Enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take
I had to hear some Motorhead after listening to Killer. It's a natural progression. There you go. We are the Road Crew. Before that, Killer from the first record, Dress to Kill, and then Roll the Dice, and The Fire Still Burns off their latest record. What a great band. I interviewed Shorty about 17 or 18 years ago, I think, when they had one of their records out back then. And he was a nice guy to talk to. I noticed that the two hardest bands for me to interview, or two hardest guests to interview, are bands from Belgium and Sweden. The translation just doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes it's okay. I mean, I talk a million miles an hour most of the time. I get excited during interviews. There's so many things I want to say and get out because when you do it on a Zoom interview, I use a free account. You only have 40 minutes, and I usually log on 5 or 10 minutes before the guest does, so I have everything ready for them. And remember to hit the record button because I can't tell you how many interviews I didn't record. I forgot to record. I just didn't hit the button. I'm just used to doing them live on the show all the time. But that's the way it goes. But hey, next week we got a great show for everybody. There's like Chop Pittman from Air Force. I got tired of waiting for Doug Sampson. I figured it would have been great to have Doug on because he was the drummer in Iron Maiden right before Clive Burr played on those earlier tapes and singles. So I figured we had a lot to talk about with Iron Maiden besides Air Force. But he rescheduled about 4 or 5 times over the last 4 weeks. So I just gave up. We have the guitarist Chop Pittman calling in next week. We'll be talking to him. We also supposed to have Andrew DeCagner on from Iron Flame. They were doing a press day the other night, Friday night, and I was scheduled to interview him, and Quinn also was with them. Quinn plays. Andrew is like a one man band. Iron Flame is all him doing almost every instrument, but live he has a backup band with them, and Quinn, the guitar player, is also the guitarist in Icarus Witch, which they both playing together also. So I figured it would have been cool because we could have did an Iron Flame Icarus Witch combination interview, but we lost power here in New York. Everything went out Friday on us. We had a bad storm go rolling through, and I kind of missed out on that. So we're gonna reschedule it when they get back. They're going over to Europe to do some shows this week. When they get back in September, we'll have them on again. Andrew was a really good guy to talk to the last time we interviewed him. So that's that. But next week, Chop Pittman from. Oh wait, we also have Mark Fox from Shock Run. I forgot about that. Mark Fox is calling in next week from Shock. So we got two guests next week. I figure we take it easy with just one a week, but it starts building up. And come September, we have our 18-year anniversary show. I'm working on getting some great guests on for you that whole month. We'll make it a month-long celebration. All right, so back in 9 years ago, I bought my new house that we're living in now. My wife and I sold our first home that my kids were born in 9 years ago because my daughter got married and my wife wanted to get a two-family house, and I haven't done anything in the basement. In 2020, when we took a little hiatus from the show, I gutted the entire basement out. I put up new walls and everything, insulated, waterproofed it, put down a French drain, and I figured, you know what, it's time to get to it now. Put out my display of albums and CDs, my rock and metal memorabilia, and all my Star Wars and my Mego toys and all my stuff that reminds me of my childhood. So I finally got it done this week. I got everything down here all set up and ready to go. It came out beautiful. I'm happy about that, and I've been on like a buying spree this whole week. Like. Picking up all the toys from the 70s and 80s that I grew up with that I haven't had, so my grandkids come down there. They want to play with Papa's toys, but like, you can't play with those toys, they're just for show. But I finally got all my records out and everything, and I realized that most of my vinyl collection ends around 86. I mean, over the last 10 or 15 years, I've picked up, all the records that have come out, over the last decade or so, but CDs. 1985, I bought my first CD player. I mean, they came out maybe I think 2 years before that CD plays, but they were like well over $1,500 or well over 1,000 if you got a sale. Impossible for any middle class person to buy. And around 85, I believe it was 84 or 85, I got my first CD player. It was like $550. I bought it from Circus City was the store. They're not around anymore. Trader Joe's, both of them aren't around, but so I realized at that point I started buying all CDs. I stopped buying albums, for the foreseeable future until metal kind of died out in the 90s. But all my collection of CDs after that. So I'm trying to find all those records that I didn't buy on vinyl, that I have on CD now. And my God, you go on the internet looking for them. They're like $40, $50 and another 10, 15 to ship them. It's crazy. Like, and most of them, it's hard to find the original ones. There are a lot of re-releases, which I don't want. I want the original ones from back in the day. I just want to round out a couple of my collection. But I found this antique shop in Pennsylvania in Lancaster. And there's like individual boots in there that people just put stuff up for sale. And I found like all these vinyl records in. I should have bought them when I went last week, but I'm going back, I believe, sometime at the end of December, end of September. So I'm going to take a lot of cash with me and buy out all the records that I can and build up my collection again. There you go. All right, yeah, CD players were really, really expensive back in the day, and I remember the first CD I bought. I think it was like 15.99, which was like almost double the cost of a vinyl record back then, because records were going for between $6 and $8, maybe $8 and $9 if it was an import, $10 if you went to like Tower Records, which was always more expensive. My God, it was like 15.99, but I bought my whole collection over again plus everything that came out after that. So the first CD I remember buying was Slayer, Show No Mercy. Let's do some Black Magic. All right, the original Santa with Under the Gun. Mexican one doesn't seem to care that they took the other band's name. A lot of bands do that, but they know about it. Oh, they knew about it. They just doesn't matter to them. They weren't going to change it. Before that, Armed Force with Land of Destiny, Q5, Steal the Light. It's been a long time since I played Q5 on the show. I think the last time we had Jeff McCormick on, we played some Q5, but such a good band. They're still out there. They're still doing it. And our good friend Christian wanted to hear Leviticus on the Rocks. I could have sworn he requested that not long ago, but I don't remember from day to day what's going on anymore myself. So there you go, Christian. Leviticus for you. I want to thank everybody for listening tonight. I want to thank Killer. I want to thank Shorty of Killer for being on tonight's show. I do appreciate it. Hopefully he'll keep doing it because this last record, the grand finale, is just as good as anything they've ever done, and he still has a great amount of songwriting left in him. So you never know. Never say never, right? So I want to thank him next week. Chop Pittman from Air Force is our guest. Mark Fox from Chakra. So don't forget to tune in. How about we close it out with one more tune out of Connecticut, Rage of Angels. I wonder if they got that name from Liege Lord and their song Rage of Angels. But they're out of Connecticut too. Are you ready for Thunder? Take care, everybody. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Sunday night.